1 hour from now, the Senate Judiciary Committee will gather in room 226 of the Dirksen Senate office building for a once-in-a-generation type of hearing. Christine Blasey Ford will testify under oath that she was sexually assaulted by Judge Brett Kavanaugh, who a week ago seemed to be on the verge of becoming the next Supreme Court justice. This morning, it is far, far, far from a sure thing, and make no mistake, what we will see today will change the trajectory of both of their lives and potentially the Supreme Court as well. That should matter to every single one of us. So what are we going to hear this morning? Well, we have the opening statements. Here is part of Ford's recounting what she says happened at a party in the summer of 1982. It reads, quote, "Brett groped me and tried to take off my clothes. He had a hard time because he was so drunk and because I was wearing a one-piece bathing suit under my clothes. I believed he was going to rape me. I tried to yell for help. When I did, Brett put his hand over my mouth to stop me from screaming. This was what terrified me the most and has had the most lasting impact on my life. It was hard for me to breathe, and I thought that Brett was accidentally going to kill me. Both Brett and Mark were drunkenly laughing during the attack. They both seemed to be having a good time. Mark was urging Brett on, although at times he did tell Brett to stop. A couple of times I made eye contact with Mark and thought he might try to help me, but he did not." Kavanaugh has denied the allegations, going so far as to say he has never been at a party like that and wasn't friends with Dr. Ford. But in his statement this morning, he admits to some less than stellar behavior. Quote, "I was not perfect in those days, just as I'm not perfect today. I drank beer with my friends, usually on weekends. Sometimes I had too many. In retrospect, I said and did things in high school that make me cringe now. But that is not why we are here today. What I have been accused of is far more serious than juvenile misbehavior. I never did anything remotely resembling what Dr. Ford describes. In fact, Senator Grassley now says 2 men have come forward and each has told committee staff he believes he was the one who assaulted Dr. Ford back in '82, not Brett Kavanaugh. But Kavanaugh is facing sexual misconduct allegations from at least 2 other women as well, Deborah Ramirez and Julie Swetnick. Ramirez alleges Kavanaugh exposed himself while the 2 were classmates at Yale. Swetnick came forward just yesterday, alleging she went to house parties with Kavanaugh in the early '80s. She says she saw him drink excessively and fondle girls without their consent. She also says she witnessed Kavanaugh and others trying to get girls so drunk so they could be gang raped. Swetnick spoke to John Heilemann for Showtime's The Circus and described the behavior she says she witnessed.
Of the things that are in your sworn statement, are there particular things you regard as disqualifying for a Supreme Court nominee?
I think all of the above. I mean, that's not the type of behavior that anybody at any age should do. I don't think women should be treated that way, and I don't think that any human being should treat people that way.
We should make it clear that while Swetnick alleges Kavanaugh was sexually aggressive and inappropriate, she has not accused him of rape. The Judiciary Committee has attempted to look into all of those allegations ahead of today's hearing, and late yesterday we learned the committee asked Kavanaugh about a 4th allegation, that he physically assaulted a woman while drunk in 1998. According to transcripts released by the Senate yesterday, Kavanaugh said, quote, "We're dealing with an anonymous letter about an anonymous person and an anonymous friend. It is ridiculous. Total Twilight Zone. And no, I have never done anything like that." He has denied all of the allegations. So let's get back to the hearing. The focus will initially be on Dr. Ford. After opening statements from the senators, she will testify and then answer questions. Kavanaugh will go second. Several Republican senators have said their decision on Kavanaugh's confirmation will hinge on what happens in that hearing room today. Even President Trump said he could change his mind.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.